under the 3 Dot Network. I want to start out with some huge Spartan news produced for First Quartz Kid. Huge news. Got a nice shout in the group text that someone's proud of me. Been coming to work every day looking for that, so just really appreciated that pat on the back. It means a lot. I'm going to have to quit now. I've hit the mountaintop. Throw myself just all into the podcast game. This is a quick solo show. James and Phil, or some combination of the two, will be here Thursday. We'll be back on normal schedule. Hello, Banks. I'm here with a cat. That's about it. That's the only guest we got. I want to say I was going to do a solo one, but then I tried to get some guests. A couple backed out last second, and that's just kind of how it went. Ideally, we're never going to do that again, to where we don't have at least one podcast in a week, but this week you'll get 2 of them. Big issue I had with James this week was so first of all, James had to save the Ukraine. That's why he wasn't there. He had a fundraiser for the Ukraine. Phil he canceled early in the week, said he couldn't make it, which is fine. I've said time and time again, that's fine, just let me know. But then, after Phil cancels, James texted and said, let's just call it off this week. Which, not his call. I mean, that's never going to be his call. That's I was going to say but my decision. And I would do a Phil or solo one rather than just not put a podcast out. Now, things came up where that didn't happen, but that's still just not his decision, which he can answer for Thursday. But time and time again, we have this where it's like, we are in this together under my vision. And, that's what it is. There's no more or less to that. So I was a little aggravated there, but Microwave Guy talked me through it. Shout out to him, who will be in studio soon. We have that coming up. A few of you have been calling for him to be here, and he will be. He wants to observe. I'm not sure what that means, but we'll have him on air or producing within the next couple weeks. Along with that, we have a blog site coming very soon. We have it up. I took a look at it the other day, and Murph coming up clutch in the final hour, which was surprising because we had kind of given up hope. Like I told him there's a glimmer of hope, but if you know who Murph is, you're never sure. But he built us a blog site. Gave me a link to the back end. All the metrics that are on it are cool. There'll be a place to just subscribe so you can get notified when we write blogs. Right now I'm recruiting some writers, so if you want to do that, reach out, 3.podcast@gmail, or just, shoot me a text. Most of you have my number. And it's really cool there because we're going to have links to the website, the podcast, potentially merch down the road, which, again, whatever. That's not a pressing issue for me, but maybe down the line. But just another exciting step for 3 Dot in general. So Murph came up clutch. I told him that. I said, this is one of the biggest things in the history of 3 Dot in our short time, actually trying to make this a thing. And had lost faith in him a little bit, but came up clutch as we were getting ready to make our own site. And also a shout out to Murph, who will be a gambling consultant in some capacity, because he's 4-1 on locks so far. And I know he made some money on the Super Bowl. I made some money, missed a couple bets, but in general, guy's on fire. So keep an eye out for that. We will be posting or publishing. The site's going to be run by Murph, but we'll be publishing that as soon as we have some blogs in the back end ready to go, because I don't want to put it up with just a blank site. So that's all coming soon. I think that's about it for 3 Dot News. Just wanted to touch on a couple things, maybe preface some stuff and summarize it before the other guys are here Thursday. One was Phil's party was this past Saturday. The party bus. There's 40 of us on the bus, or it ended up being 35, I believe. 35, and it was a dual birthday. But let me tell you something, it did not feel like it, and I even forgot the other girl was there, which was probably part of the problem, because later on we did we stopped at 3 different bars, and then went back to the casino, which, number one, I've talked about this last week, but being sober in that situation is fine until it's not. I ended up with this drunk guy next to me, who just kept saying the same joke. He said I looked like a guy on Game of Thrones, and then just nonstop kept saying, "Oh, dude, I'm sorry, I'm just joking around." I said, "No, we're good." And then he goes, "You gonna defend the wall?" I'm kidding, man. He just kept doing it, and I just losing my mind. But you know, you gotta be calm. I'm the sober person in that situation. You know, if I was drunk, I probably would have been. Actually, no, I would have hated it either way. Never mind. I was gonna try to have a moment of clarity there, but there's nothing to. There's nowhere else to go. So he did that about 4 times as I'm sitting right next to him. The other things from Phil's party was there's a lot of I'll just say Phil was spanking people a lot, which is fine. But then I'm sitting next to him, and he winds up to really slap this dude's ass as he's walking by, which is fine. You know, hey, you know, guy stuff. He misses and hits me straight in the throat, and I looked at him, and I said, "You do that again, I will ruin your fucking birthday." And there was like. I was joking with what I said, but also there's just, you know, you get hit and you take it kind of serious. In that moment, I was ready to just go off, ruin the whole entire birthday. And he did it a second time and hit me in the chest. I was like, Phil, get your shit together. And at this point, he's hammered. It's his birthday, but you get hit twice. What are you supposed to do? That wouldn't have been the only fight, funny enough. There was a lesbian couple on the bus. And then there's this other girl who, I'm not sure who she was with. I think it was one of Phil's friends plus ones. Not sure, so we'll get some clarity on that. But she's taking the party bus as if it's more of a stripper bus, and she's dancing around, and one of the lesbians joins her in dancing, and the lesbian girlfriend was not a fan of that. I don't think. James and I were reading it, and it seemed like there was a little bit too much contact, perhaps. Throw a flag on the play. Not sure. We'll get clarity on that from Phil, who was hammered. He threw up in the casino parking lot after, so I'm not sure how good of a source he'll be, but at least he can tell us who it was. Also, the part of the dual birthday was, if you remember before, Phil told us it's a dual birthday with 40 people, but he's bringing like 29 of them or 30 of them. It ended up being like 35 people. And the other girl whose birthday it was had her boyfriend and like one other couple, and that was it. And the whole rest of the bus was Phil's. Which was fun, but again, like I said, I forgot about the other girl entirely. And when we get to Reset in Rossford, which was the last bar, James and I are holding the door open, waiting for Grace and Haley in the bathroom. And this girl walks in, and I didn't even know who she was. And James goes, "Oh, are you the other birthday person?" And she goes, "Yep." And then just walks in, looks really pissed off, looks really sad, and then we get on the bus, and they do not get back on. About 6 people stayed at Reset, and I think they just had their own party. Maybe it was too much of Phil's crowd. I don't know. Maybe I'm just misreading the situation. So this is hopefully something we can all get clarity on. So this is a little tease for that. But that was an interesting dynamic going on. Also, Phil, the music, man, was... it's your birthday. You know, it's not my party, but... rough. Like, they played a couple T-Pain songs, which, boom, right in the older 20s nostalgia piece, and great party songs. But then the rest of it was just like, let me show you I like rap. Like, it was just not stuff you can really party to or club to or bump to. It was just like pure rap lyrics, which I love rap, don't get me wrong. And I'm a huge fan of most of those songs, but just not a party environment song. But it was also funny to watch Phil rap along to every single song that came on. And then at one point he said he would take song requests, but then he was too drunk to work the phone, so we just listened to the same playlist twice in a row, which wasn't ideal as a sober person there realizing what's happening. Everyone else seemed to be fine, but there's at least 6 of us that were sitting there going, this music is not... we're on a party bus, and we're just listening to, like, hardcore rap, coke rap, just lyrics, and it's like, all right, I mean, that's fine. Again, Phil's party, but he can answer for that. Let's see here. Not much else, because I didn't want to go too long. This is literally just summing up some things. I did just want to say for the Super Bowl, that defensive holding call, go by the Buck, sure, could be holding, but if the ref misses that call, or the official misses that call, and it should have been called and it's a no call, the Eagles still have to go down the field. Whereas by throwing that penalty flag, you end the game right there. And that's the only issue I have with it, is it takes the entire, let the players play out of it. The game's over by throwing that flag. Along with that, I said it went from the best Super Bowl to the worst just in that one call. Because I thought it was a very entertaining game, great game the whole time. And then that call just left me with a sour taste in my mouth. And I was like sick. I'm texting like 4 different people, these long paragraphs saying the same thing, just because I was so pissed off. I was like, we wasted our time watching it for it to end like that. But then, the halftime show, listen, I'll be the first one to go through a catalog and say Rihanna has bangers. Let me get that out there. No problem there. But I thought the halftime show was terrible. And then I saw other people criticizing it, and then people responding saying, oh, you're just criticizing her because she's a woman, oh, because she's black. And it's like, if there was a man, or any man or woman up there, I would say the same thing. If Taylor Swift went up there and barely moved around, I'd be saying the same criticism. If there was a pregnant man up there, which I don't think we're far away from in 2023, having his period and giving birth on stage, I would be a little critical of that. I think that would be okay without having to be lectured about it. But I'm a big Rihanna fan, but I just thought the halftime show was terrible. I thought the sound was weird. She didn't even try to hide that she was lip syncing, which is it's the halftime show, so whatever, but at least give a little bit of effort there. I also don't understand why we have to applaud her just for being pregnant. I mean, good for her, it's an accomplishment, but it wasn't a great show. And to not have any guests, just do it solo. Well, she had the baby, duet, I guess, but in general, was not a fan of the halftime show. I thought it was one of the worst of all time, just from that perspective. We will have a blog about that because that was in our group text talking about halftime shows. I believe James was going to work on that, but he also said he hasn't seen a lot of halftime shows, so we'll see what happens there. My early favorite, the Eminem, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg one was awesome. I think Prince has one of the best ones of all time. And I think Rihanna could do an awesome show if she wasn't pregnant. I saw someone saying, well, she hit all of her choreography marks and she did all this. Hey, slay queen, all day. Go off, Rihanna, that's fine, but that was not it, in my opinion. And I think we are at a point where we can be critical without having to be lectured about it. And maybe it just wasn't for me, sure, but I am giving my opinion because we're doing a podcast about it. And maybe James and Phil will have different opinions, but that's just where I was. I was just not impressed, not blown away, really disappointed because I was like, oh shit, Rihanna. I mean, banners on banners. You going all the way back, like SOS. I believe S&M was hers, Umbrella. I mean, all of those, and she performed a few of them, but how are you going to do Run This Town and not have Jay-Z? Or do Sing All of the Lights and not have Kanye out there, which Kanye has his own issues. We draw the line there. We can separate the man from the artist, except for Kanye, which may be warranted. I'll give you that. I'm not going to sit here and white knight for Kanye, but I just thought it was weird to sing those songs and not have a guest come out, a surprise guest. Just not a fan. This wasn't for me. The game itself after that was awesome until that call. And I think James felt the same way. Phil, I think, was still nursing a hangover, so I didn't really get his feedback. But in general, disappointed Super Bowl all around because of the way it ended. But so much potential in that game for it to end that way and for the halftime show to do that. It is what it is. We move on. I made some money on it. I had an under for Mahomes passing yards, over for total points, a couple parlays with Goddard and Kelsey, and a couple other guys with total receptions. So, can't be too mad at it. You win some money, and for the most part was entertained. But I think that's all I really wanted to touch on, and just to be clear, we will do another episode Thursday, and go from there on hopefully a normal schedule. And this may be a thing. Maybe I'll do once in a while a solo show on a Monday or Tuesday, kind of sum things up, because We want to move to maybe twice a week, but this might be a transition into that. See how this goes. See what people say. But I just thought it was good to get something out there for after not having a week of content at all. So with that, let me go through just see if there's anything I missed. A lot of these other topics are for Phil and James to kind of discuss. One other thing that happened at Phil's party bus was Haley got hammered, which I didn't realize. Like, you ever with someone and you don't realize how drunk they are, and then, like, you guys are alone, and all of a sudden she can't stand? Because that's what happened. Same with Grace. James and I walked into the casino, we're watching the UFC fight, and all of a sudden Grace and Haley are both just, like, wobbling. And then I finally get her, we were leaving, I get her into the car, she's drinking water, doing my job to take care of her. We get all the way home, and then she's in the bathroom, she calls out, she goes, "Do you have my phone?" And, like, the blood boils. I'm like, when the fuck was I supposed to have your phone? I go, nah, what, no, when would I have had it? She goes, "Oh, I don't have it." So I track it, and it's still at the casino. And then I'm panicking, because I'm like, shit, someone's walked off of her phone, this is going to be a whole problem. So I call it twice. Second time they answer, it was the Hollywood Casino security. I go, "Yeah, this phone was turned in. Do you want to come get it?" It's like 2:30 in the morning. So I'm like, "No, we'll get it tomorrow." He's like, "All right, whatever." Hang up. Like 10 minutes go by, and I'm like, I don't want to deal with this tomorrow either. So I head back to the casino. It's about 2:45 in the morning. And I get there. I walk in. They tell me lost the founds in the front. Go to the front. And he goes, "You have to unlock it with your face to claim it as yours." And I go, "Well, if it's not my phone and she's not here, I know the password. Can I just do that?" "Sure." Type it in, no problem. And then as I'm walking out, the lady there goes, "Oh, that was turned in with a wallet. Is this hers?" And Haley had left her wallet and her phone, all her cards, everything just on the bar. And thank God for the bartender there, turned them in. Shout out security at the Hollywood Casino for taking care of it. But it was just a wild situation altogether, because I'm sitting there panicking at 2 in the morning thinking we lost a phone, or 2:30 in the morning. Fast forward to me driving there, which is also really weird because I walked past just a tremendous pile of vomit, and then later Phil says he threw up, so I'm going to find out if that was his. It became a shit show, and we'll get into the whole party bus this Thursday, but in general, it was just a great time until it wasn't, in terms of the Super Bowl and the party bus. So I guess that will sum up this week, and we are back on Thursday, so bear with us.